Cool. Well, joining us now on the Same Old Stripes podcast. He's the starting left guard for your Cincinnati Bengals. He's back for his second full season in Cincinnati. He also just signed a pretty fun sponsorship deal that he's going to tell us a little about. He's got a little commercial coming, so stay tuned for all of that. But I'm hearing he's been getting bigger during the offseason. He's had a big offseason, I'm sure. But Cordell Volson, it's great to connect with you right before training camp, man. How are you and how was your offseason?
Yeah, so I work with the guy I did combine prep with, Bill Welly for the strength and conditioning side, and then I work with Alex Boone on the O-line stuff, former left guard for the San Francisco 49ers. Great dude, ton of fun to work with, learn a lot from him, and really excited. Big year ahead.
Well, right on. Well, big year ahead. I think everyone's fired up for your big year left guard. Obviously, you're going to have another big guy to the left of you this year, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, I want to talk about some of the other guys that you're working with in the offseason. Chris and Jeremiah from your agency were telling me about a little sponsorship deal that you have going on with Zimmer tractors. You're going to be, or you have a commercial that you just filmed. There's going to be some stuff coming, but just tell us a little bit about this deal, because I think when the people of Cincinnati are going to see it, like Billy said before the podcast, it's just pretty on brand, man.
Yeah. So they reached out to me. The guys over at Zimmer Tractor reached out to me this off season, and it sounded like something that I would love to be a part of and do. And so on Saturday we went over and shot a commercial with them, and they were great guys over there, awesome to work with. Got to run a little bit of equipment and have some fun over there with those guys, and it wasn't. I couldn't have asked for a better kind of fit for me. It was right on brand. Grew up doing that type of stuff, and still got to do a little bit of it this off season when I was home with my dad and brother, just to hang out with them a little bit and run some equipment for a little bit, and being able to kind of help represent a brand that is a really good quality brand, and that you see all over the industry was really cool. And I couldn't have asked for better people to work with. They were an awesome time. We had a ton of fun, and got to pick their brains kind of about their industry a little bit, and that was really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in your background. Obviously, your family business is obviously. It's something to do with repairing trains. Is that correct, or something like that? I heard a podcast about it in the offseason. It was kind of wild.
Yeah, so we're an excavating company. So we're called RV Enterprises. Okay. So we do emergency service work for the railroad in North Dakota. That's derailments, washouts from erosion, whatever it is, we're out there doing it for them. Any day of the week. I remember it was a couple Easters ago. Dad and I had to be out moving snow for the railroad on Easter. It's just kind of what we got to do, and it's awesome. They're great people to work with, and grew up running big equipment and working with my hands. So it was a good fit for me.
So a natural question for me to ask here, and one I didn't have on the script, but I have to ask it. What is your favorite piece of heavy machinery to operate? Because I feel like there's such a litany, and I work in construction, so I get to see all the fun stuff. But what is your favorite piece of heavy machinery to operate? If you're like, man, I get to go in the field today and do some cool shit.
Yeah, I love to run excavator. I love to move dirt. It's really cool because you can see a lot of dirt moved in a short period of time. And I really enjoy that, and just all the things you can do with that machine. We use it for all kinds of stuff. Putting in water line, putting in sewers, to putting trains back on tracks. Lifting railroad rail, whatever it is. Whatever needs to be lifted. It seems like that's kind of the machine of choice, and there's a lot of guys out there that are kind of like surgeons on that machine. They can get things within an eighth of an inch of where they need to be. So it's a really unique machine, and one that you can do a lot of different things with.
It's always amazing to see some of the precision that goes into heavy machinery. There's people that can operate that stuff like race cars. So Zimmer tractors, that's where we got off on that tangent a little bit. I was pretty excited to hear you talk a little excavator. I think people are going to be fired up when they hear the podcast for that. But anything else to promote with that before we kind of talk a little football? I know Tio's got his Glass Eater name in his thing in the bottom. I got to get him to go on questions. But anything else on Zimmer tractor before we spin off here?
Yeah, no, I mean, they were, it was a lot of fun. Be looking for the commercial, and there's a couple of radio ads that will be out. Great people over there. I just got to know them for a little bit, and they were all awesome to work with and very knowledgeable. So if you're in the need of some Kubota equipment, go over there.
I feel like you've probably gotten used to saying something along the lines of that over the last week or so. So you've hammered it, man. You're getting your elevator pitch down. But Tio, you're down there with your Glass Eater's name. I feel like I'm making you be too quiet with a name like that. We got one of the Glass Eaters on the show. Tio, what do you have for Cordell? What's on your mind? What do you want to know?
Yeah, first, Cordell, thanks for joining us, man. It's a true honor, and we're fired up to have you. But I guess last season, you come in and you start right away, and you have a pretty good year. I guess what are you looking to improve on this year? What do you think you struggled with most last year, and what do you think you'll improve with most this year?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest thing is, that I think is going to be noticeable right away is just going to be confidence. Playing with a ton more confidence. Understanding what guys are doing before they do it, understanding NFL defenses, and really truly understanding what we're trying to accomplish. I think that's going to be the biggest leap this year. But there's always things that you have to improve on. One of the big emphasis for me this offseason was hand placement in the foot speed, and not necessarily just foot speed, but just being efficient with your feet. Having quick, quiet feet, and keeping a good base, and just having efficient footwork. That was kind of the big emphasis for me. In the training room wise, is just having efficient footwork and playing with really good hands. But I'm really excited for this year. I think have really cleaned up a lot of things and feel really confident in what I'm doing, and I'm really excited.
That's awesome to hear, and I got to shout out Willie real quick. He's your biggest fan. He's been on you since day one. So we're fired up, man. I think big things are coming for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate you guys. That's great.
We've got to ride the train. Someone has to tell the people what Cordell Volson's doing, because we were pretty fired up. We liked the tape, man. We thought good things were happening.
Heck yeah.
One of the things that I thought was super duper impressive, I mean, you went from playing in North Dakota State 2 seasons ago, obviously a lower level, to Division I, where we're talking about some of the real crazy, absurd levels of athletes playing. And then for you to go to the NFL and, compete with some of these next level talents, but obviously that came with an adjustment. I was just curious from you. How much of an adjustment was that? Did that really take you by surprise? I'm sure the week one with Cam Hayward was a whole lot of fun once you got into it and all that good stuff. But you obviously, if we go flash forward to a game Chris Jones was one of your better matchups throughout the season. So stuff like that, it blows you away throughout the year. But just the adjustment, I'm sure, was that pretty nuts for you?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was fortunate enough in college to kind of be bigger and stronger than most people. And that's not the case. So yeah, there was obviously an adjustment. You got to have great technique on every rep, and you really got to be locked into what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish and what the offense is trying to accomplish. So I think that was kind of the big adjustment. In college was fortunate enough, if you got out of position, to be able to regain that position just because you were a better athlete and stronger than the guy across from you. At this level, you gotta come off the ball with great technique and stay in a good position the whole time.
That's awesome. I love that insight. And I think that's such an underrated aspect to it, because when you're the best athlete on the field and it, that's a totally different it's just a totally different thing. I think there's a lot more in that across professional sports than people think.
Yeah, I would agree. I always think about it. You're playing against the best football players in the world every single week, and really fortunate to be included in one of those.
Yeah. And you're no matter what level you're playing, all those guys were the best guys on their high school team, no matter what. And that just, it's like, no matter what, it's like you're always playing the best when you start getting these next levels.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, Billy, you're a coach. I'm going to let you do some coach questions now. I know you got stuff burning in your brain. You've been sitting there for a minute stewing. I can see your
No,
brain.
definitely. Definitely, and another shout out to Willie as the title on Twitter was "No Cordell Volson slander will prosper" for about 6 weeks there in the season. So
Let's go.
we've definitely had your back for the season here,
Billy,
Cordell.
it's still there, baby. No Cordell Volson slander will be tolerated. It's going to stay there. It's not going anywhere, baby.
Let's go. I appreciate that.
I'll take one of the questions you're going to kind of ask and kind of put a little bit of different spin on it. Sorry, Will, but I've been thinking a lot all week when we were getting ready to talk to you. Cordell, I think you were really one of the most consistent pieces that we had on this entire roster all season last year. And I really can personally think it could be attributed to some of that play in the preseason and those reps that you got. Any way you could talk about how those couple of games in the preseason kind of helped propel you into, like Willie said, that matchup against Cam Hayward and some of this talent, because we talked a lot in those first 2 weeks, and we've really tried to stay positive after the start. But I think you really saw just like the lack of reps with, 4 new guys on an offensive line and what that kind of took. And then the second part of that question is we were kind of getting into, how does it feel going into this, preseason, really knowing your roles? I'd say 4 of the 5 spots kind of set, and really kind of how you guys are looking to build chemistry, even with a guy like Orlando Brown coming into the room.
Yeah. So I think, we'll start with the, last year preseason question. I think that was really beneficial, especially when we went out to New York and played the Giants. I played every snap of that game. And, that kind
I was first row for that game. I'm a New Yorker, so we love the tape, love the live action on that one. I was sending a lot of text out.
Awesome. Yeah. So just being able to be there and, kind of play a whole NFL game, you kind of get your feet wet a little bit and, have the opportunity to understand what the, whole flow of an NFL game is like. And, I think that definitely helped prepare me, just having never been in that situation before. So that was really beneficial. And anytime that you get a step on the field and compete, especially if it's someone not on your team, I think it's beneficial. Having an opportunity to play against the Cardinals and then the Giants, like I said, I think those were all beneficial reps, just being in an NFL setting, with a crowd and all the procedures that go into it. I think is very beneficial. And then to add on to, your latter question about having Orlando and how kind of the O-line is going to mesh this year. I think it's going to be really, really smooth. We had great chemistry in OTAs, got to know Orlando really well. Extremely talented football player, works his tail off. Really excited to play with him. And it's cool because, he's constantly giving me knowledge, giving me nuggets, things that I can use, tools from my toolbox, as I like to say, So it's really cool to have a guy with the, the experience that he has, and a caliber player that he is. He's one of the elite in the National Football League, and to be able to play next to him is really cool. And I think it's going to really have a huge benefit on me, and I'm going to learn a lot from him. And I think we're gonna get a lot of chemistry built up, throughout training camp. We have a couple of joint practices with the Packers, and then I'm sure we're going to get a couple preseason games together. So just being able to stack days on top of each other and to build that chemistry is going to be huge. And it's going to pay dividends, once we get in December, January, so really excited for that.
No, definitely. I would also add, we had Orlando here, but we said it to him. I think one of the most underrated aspects of his career is his ability to play on both sides of tackles and play at that premier level, right? Like I think, you could have all the conversation you want about where he stacks on a left tackle or the offensive line pedigree, but to play at that high of a level on both sides of the line, just something you don't see every day.
That's exactly right. People think it's easy to go from having, being a left-sided guy to a right-sided guy. Like it's just a smooth transition, but it's I mean, everything's different. It's a big, big jump, big leap going from left tackle to right tackle, right guard to left guard, whatever it may be. Everything's completely different. Your power angles are different. The way you're driving off legs are different. Just the movements that you're expecting out of your muscles is different. So you really gotta train that. And people think that, oh, you can just go put your left hand in the dirt or you can go put your right hand in the dirt. It's not quite that simple.
That's funny to think of. I just in my head was thinking about, I mean, you need to have all this power to play in the NFL, but you have to get ready for the combine. So I'm just thinking about the setback. That must cause some people. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but that has to be a factor in all of this. Am I crazy?
100% is. You go from, you get, like for me, I got done with my college season, and you go straight into combine prep. You start training to run a 40, run a short shuttle, 225 bench. You start to train all this other stuff, for the underwear Olympics, and you're not training any real football movements. You're still training with, like, I was fortunate to have Alex Boone there to work with during the pre-draft process, but still you're not getting the time that you need doing that type of movement and stuff. You're more working the combine drills, and that's really not the technical nuts and bolts of playing O-line. So yeah, it is. And then you get a couple weeks to kind of get into football shape. Football shape and combine shape are completely different things. So you get a couple weeks, and then you're right off the OTAs, and you gotta perform. So yeah, having a true offseason does make a huge difference, because you can truly focus on the things that you need to improve at, and you can truly focus on being a football player, training as a football player, not training as a sprinter or what have you. So that's really beneficial.
Yeah, because it's super. I need to know how many times you can bench 225. I need to know that for some reason. That's a metric that I need.
Yeah. So at the combine, I did 24, but I know that I can do more since then.
I'm sure if you're adding muscle and they're making you skinny for the combine,
I feel way stronger than I did at that point. But the training's been a little bit different. It's more, heavier weight for less reps, instead of, kind of repping out 225 for 20, 30 times, whatever it may be.
So how much has that done for your confidence? Because I imagine for you, who kind of had, several things that are very different, your role coming into the year, your competition coming into the year, and you've, dedicated a training program to those two, or, several factors that you can, predetermine now. I mean, how much has that done for your confidence? That's something you mentioned at the top, but I think that's worth exploring a little more, because I imagine it's got to be pretty significant.
Yeah. Extremely confident in what I'm capable of doing, and I was a year ago at this time, but it's not the same confidence. Like now, shoot, I got a year under my belt. I know that I can play in this league. Now it's about really finding the little things that I can get better at. So like when you go out there, who you're going against, you understand what we're trying to accomplish offensively. You understand just how to play in the NFL. It kind of is it's kind of strange to think about just knowing how to play in the NFL, but it is something that you have to learn. It's you just understand what level of competition you're having every single snap. It doesn't matter if it's a first string guy or a third string guy. You're playing against a really good football player. Yeah, so knowing how my body feels, feeling really good, knowing that I've trained the last 6 months, whatever it is for this, this moment, this season, have a ton of confidence, and really excited for this season.
Love to hear it. Tio, I feel like I keep asking all these questions, but I know you got things on your brain too, man. Fire away with whatever question you got on your brain.
Yeah, so you touched on Orlando Brown a little bit. What do you think the biggest difference is going from, Jonah to Orlando in this situation?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is just having. I mean, Orlando's a big guy. I think having the ability to kind of feel him more as far as spatial awareness goes. I think we're very similar players as far as big, strong. We're going to play with power type players. So I'm really excited to see what we can do in the run game. I think that we're gonna be able to get some people moved, and I'm really excited for that. And just being able to pass off games, knowing that we're gonna be on the same level. We both want to do the same thing when we're pass blocking people, and really excited for that. I feel like we're really on the same page when it comes to playing next to each other. Where I love playing next to Jonah. And I learned a lot from him. He helped me so much as a rookie. And so I'm really excited for this year. It's going to be fun building that chemistry with Orlando. And, like I said, looking forward to a big year.
Yeah, I think Willie texted us right after Orlando signed. He said, imagine running through that left side. So, yeah, that's exciting, man. And real quick, how much more, I guess, rewarding is it that we took him from the Chiefs? I don't know how you guys feel about the Chiefs, but we can't stand them here.
Yeah, whenever you can gain an elite player and a team of that caliber loses an elite player, it's always a good feeling, and I'm really looking forward to playing with him, and I'm really excited. I can't even put into words how excited I am to play with him and get going tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. That makes me excited. I needed you to say that for some reason. I didn't know. I thought it was like 2 more days, but the fact that it's tomorrow does make me feel happy that football is back. Billy, we're gonna do like a couple more questions, but I want to make sure you get one more in before we go. Man, tomorrow. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Like the day before Christmas, but
It's right.
I just want to end with this one, Cordell, and I think you've kind of touched on it, but I'd love for you to get your direct thoughts. I think we've all seen, and we talk a lot on this podcast about same old stripes, and we've us three have had a very similar kind of background as a Bengal fan. Some background on myself. I'm from New York. My dad's been a Bengal fan since '68, and being a Bengal fan in New York in the early 2000s was not the easiest thing growing up out here. But I think, we all know the confidence that Nine has brought into the organization, into the room, but more so, I think the entire roster, we talk weekly about just how proud and how happy we are about this roster. And can you talk about like the overall, aura and how you guys really feel in there? Because I think it's an organizational and fan base thing as well, where we know we're here to compete every year. And again, it never comes down to one play. It never comes down to, a couple plays in the end game. I think, you guys and us really have the same mentality of like, we're right there. And the margin of winning and losing in games in January and February is so thin that, how do you guys kind of see, how do you improve on that and to kind of take that final jump and get a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of what you said a little bit about Joe. Whenever Joe is your quarterback, you're always going to have a chance, and to have the playmakers that we have, with T and Jamar and TB and Joe Mix, like we got a lot of really good players, and our defense is really good. I think it's one of the most underrated defenses in the league. I think we have a lot of really good people and good pieces in place. And the coolest thing is everyone in our locker room just wants to win. That is the most important thing to everyone, is winning. And, being right there, just adds a little bit more motivation to that. I'm really excited. I mean, just everyone in that locker room, like we're going to show up tomorrow and it is going to be, everyone is on, goal is set. We have one mission, and, that's the whole mindset of the locker room.
I love it, man.
Awesome.
Love it. And just so you know, us three and obviously the entire fan base, family guys, we have your back. It's been a long road, but the real ones have stuck it out, and we know what's on the horizon, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. You guys have been great. I know I stay off Twitter. I have a Twitter, but I stay off of it just
That's
for
wise. I wish I could be like that.
But I get told about Willie all the time, and I really appreciate it. I'm like, I can't wait to talk to this guy.
Oh, we love having you, man. It's been a blast talking to you. I do have like 2 more questions if you got time for them.
I got all the time you need.
Oh, lovely. Well, there is one thing I forgot about, and then you reminded me the training camp starts tomorrow, and now I got to talk about it. So we're going to hop in the time machine for a second. I want to go to another joint practice. I don't know if you remember the Rams joint practice last year, but there was a notable star defender who was not a very big Cordell Volson fan. Just kind of take me through what was going on that day with the helmet swinging and the nonsense that was that Rams practice that apparently a couple of good days of practice, but just got real tense right at the end.
Yeah, it was, we had 2, probably one really good day and then about 3/4 of a really good day. And then I think it was, guys, tempers kind of get going, tension gets high, and one little thing just, leads to another thing, and pretty soon it's just melee, and you got to think you have at that time 180 just really competitive alpha dogs on one field. Something bad's probably going to happen. But I think that we had a really good day and a half or so of getting better, and at the end of the day, that's what's most important.
Are you able to confirm or deny whether it was your helmet that was ripped off in the midst of the whole thing?
Picture evidence looks like it's me, but I don't recall.
Oh my God. There was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. I mean, everywhere there was something.
It looked like that fight scene in Anchorman where there's there's a trident. There was, yeah. Well, that's good to know that was as chaotic in the pictures as it was in reality.
It was.
Yeah, I don't think the Packers thing is going to get like that for some reason. I think that Zach's going to be pretty intent on that not happening.
I think so, and I think it's only one day.
Yo, that's probably for the best. I don't think you need to. Sounds like you guys got everything you needed on day 1 last time.
Right.
Well, the last question I want to ask before you go, and we ask this to every player we have on, because I think it's a really interesting one, and I think people take it their own way every time. But what is one thing you want Bengals fans to know about Cordell Volson that they might not know already? Some guys, it's something, a hobby they're interested in, something just maybe about their work ethic. But what's one thing that you would like the Bengals fans to know that they might not otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I want Bengals fans to know that every single game and every single rep, they're gonna get my best. Like I am as passionate about winning a Super Bowl here in Cincinnati as the fans are, and I'm right there with you. And I'm the same type of guy that most of the Bengals fans are. Just a blue collar, hard hat, lunch pail type of guy. And I'm just fortunate enough to be able to play football. But just love this city, love this fan base, and I'm really excited for what's to come.
Well, we're excited to watch you crush some souls this season, man. It's going to be pretty awesome to watch. Well, it was really awesome having you on the show. I don't think I can emphasize that enough. Billy and Tio, all of us really appreciate it. It's going to be a fun season, man. We'd like to send you off with another shout out to Zimmer Tractors. If you guys haven't already Googled Zimmer Tractors or followed Zimmer Tractors or found a way to get to Zimmer Tractors while you were listening to this podcast, get in your car and drive to Zimmer Tractors and get yourself a tractor. And tell them Cordell sent you.
Exactly.
Yeah. But thanks so much for coming on the Same Old Stripes podcast, man. And we have to leave you with a hoo-day.
Hoo-day, brother.
I appreciate you guys. It was a ton of fun. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it, man.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
Perfect. Hoo-day, guys.
Stay healthy, man. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Take care.